Hello and Assalamualaikum. So my group will present about the business account report from Miss Lina collection. So my group member is Nur Syafiqah binti Muhammad, Nurul Najiha binti Osman, Nur Syafiqah Najiha binti Abdul Aziz, and me Nur Ain Farha binti Bahrum. I will start from the content of this group presentation, which is background, business characteristic, classification of item in business, recording process, strength and weakness, and lastly conclusion. So, my group member, which is Nur Syafiqah binti Muhammad, will start with the background of this business.
Kedai Miss Lina Collection started its operation in 2017. Puan Miss Lina binti Yusof is 47 years old, is the owner of the business Miss Lina Collection. She started the business after working at Sundarbi. She also used to do a business in GM Kelang Wholesale Malaysia. Puan Miss Lina made a loan with the bank. She used a 50,000 as a beginning in a capital. The business is located at Puncak Alam, Selangor. She started the business by selling telekong. She take the stock directly from a factory located in Vietnam. After she gained more profit from her business, she designed by her own creativity and the wage of a tailor. Other than that, she take the stock of a pen from someone else. The type of the business Puan Miss Lina binti Yusof is a sole proprietorship. The business operate every day from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and it closed on a special event such as Hari Raya Aidilfitri, Hari Deepavali, and Chinese New Year. The cost is calculated by dividing it into three parts, which is capital, wage, and profit. The company get its stock from the suppliers, which is fabric fanatic that supply the fabric. The business assets such as cashier machine, equipment, furniture, and others. The estimate value of asset of Miss Lina Collection right now is around 45,000. The profit earned by Miss Lina for 1 month is around 12,000 to 20,000. The expense on worker wages is around 900 to each worker. The type of business entered by Miss Lina Collection is a sole proprietorship company. Sole proprietorship can be easily established and distinguished from other business types because the business usually has the word enterprise behind its name. But there are some of the business do not use the word enterprise, just like Miss Lina Collection. As a sole proprietorship, the business is registered in Surajaya Syarikat Malaysia (SSM) under Registered of Business Act 1957 since 2017. Miss Lina Collection have only one owner, which is Puan Miss Lina binti Yusof. The business opening capital came from bank loan made by the owner. The business was managed by Puan Miss Lina with the help of the part-time worker. Next, Miss Lina Collection is a business that provides various products of the fashion, such as dress, skirt, and hijab. For the record profit and loss calculation only on manual books. There is no legal obligation to keep book and set up an account. Miss Lina Collection asset and liabilities are unlimited. This means the owner of the business liable for all the liabilities. If Puan Miss Lina does not have abilities to pay back debits, her properties can be taken. Asset and liabilities of the business depends on profit or loss earned by the owner.
Next, let's see the classification of the business item. Business item can be classified into assets, liability, capital, revenue, and expenses. Firstly, let's look into asset. Asset is a resource controlled by the enterprise as a result of past event and from which future economic benefits are expected to flow through the enterprise. Assets are divided into two categories, which are current asset and non-current asset. Non-current asset are acquired not for the purpose of resale and it be held for more than one accounting period. For example, land, building, machine, vehicle, and patents. Meanwhile, the current assets are assets that have been in property for less than 1 year. This is due to the ease with which this asset can be converted into cash. For example, account receivable and stocks. Okay, so for Miss Lina's collection, it also has a few assets. Miss Lina collection non-current assets such as a cashier machine, equipment and furniture like display cabinets, and also the current asset. Also, Miss Lina current assets such as account payable, inventories, cash in hand, cash in the bank, owned by Miss Lina collection are expected around 55,000 ringgit Malaysia. Next, let's look into liabilities. Liabilities are the financial obligation of a business or an amount of money owed to the creditors. This is represent what the business owes to the outsiders. Liabilities can be divided into two categories, which is non-current liabilities and current liabilities. Non-current liabilities, also known as long-term liabilities. This is because it's scheduled to be paid after 1 year from the date of the balance sheet. For example, long-term loans. Meanwhile, the current liabilities are obligations that may be paid within a year or for a short period of time because of their low value that a business could pay. For example, a bank overdraft and account payable. Miss Lina collection non-current liabilities is a loan that the business asks. The owner, Miss Lina, informed that the loan cost around 15,000 ringgit that the business used to support the business during the pandemic and also to expand their business more. Miss Lina also have current liabilities, which is account payable. The account payable is their current supplier, which is Fabric Fanatics. The value was around 5,000 ringgit a month. Capital. Capital can be defined as a contribution of assets that are usually in the form of cash, furniture, machinery, or even vehicle that is owned by the owner for starting a company. When Miss Lina's collection was first established, the initial capital was about 15,000 ringgit Malaysia. And while running the business, Miss Lina brought his own asset into the business, such as furniture and equipment. Revenue. Revenue represents the monetary value of certain goods and services that have been supplied to the customer. It is also known as a flow of benefits during the arising in business activities. Revenue can be classified into two main things, which is operating revenue and non-operating revenue. Operating revenue are the revenue that were gained from the main business activity. For example, a restaurant gain its revenue when the foods that they are offered is being sold. While non-operating revenues are the revenues received from unrelated or different from main activity of the business. Okay, in Miss Lina's collection, they receive operating revenue from its daily business transaction at their business. The business is able to achieve around 500 to 800 each day, which make their operating revenue for a month or around 12,000 ringgit Malaysia. Miss Lina's collection also received non-operating revenues when some of the assets were sold. The business obtained non-operating revenues when she is able to sell their old equipment like hanging rack that cost around 300 ringgit Malaysia. Lastly, the expenses. Expenses is the cost incurred in the business. It is also known as decrease in business benefits during the accounting periods in the form of outflow. Expenses can be classified into four categories. Firstly, cost of sale, which is the cost of goods sale. Secondly, selling and distribution expenses like carriage of goods and advertising. Thirdly, administration expenses, such as rent, insurance, wages, and salaries. Lastly, finance expenses like loan interest. In Miss Lina's collection, they also have expenses. They have one part-time workers that was paid 900 monthly. The business also paid the premise rent, RM 2,500 ringgit every month. And the utility expenses every month is about 500 ringgit Malaysia.
Now, we are moving on to the recording process that are involved in Miss Lina's collection business. So basically, Miss Lina's collection has meticulously documented their accounting process by keeping a thorough record of all income and expenses, including their extracting financial data from their business details. This is actually an important routine as Miss Lina is able to track and manage her expenses and money income so that she can guarantee that her business is going for a long time. There are a few steps that business owners may perform in recording their business transactions as to include them in their financial statements. So firstly, every business activities must have its own source document, which it includes the details of transactions done by them, such as the date, the names of the people involved, and the amount of money paid. So according to our interview with Miss Lina herself, she has stated that her business only use certain types of documents, and those documents that she mentioned are purchase order, bank statements, and invoices in her business transactions. Next, the second step in recording process of a business is to document all of a business's financial transactions and activities into a journal. So some of the journals that we may have encountered in accounting includes general journal, purchase journal, sales journal, and return journal. So for Miss Lina collection, the business owner has stated that they do not keep their records of business affairs in an appropriate journal since the owner she did not appoint any accountant, and it was normally managed solely by the owner by scribbling down all the events in her special notebook that she considers as the journal herself. A business recording process should also include that they must record it into ledgers. However, Miss Lina has informed us that she did not enter her transactions in the ledger, and instead she only jotted them down in her notebook as well. For the fourth step in the recording process, we continue with writing all the financial information into trial balance, which must include the general ledger account, revenue as well as capital. But according to Puan Miss Lina, a trial balance is always prepared by the business on a regular basis, generally once a year, and Puan Miss Lina has mentioned that she is unable to prepare the trial balance since she rarely records her business activities in a suitable journal and ledger. And finally, the financial statement is the last process which business owners may perform in recording their business transactions. But however, for Puan Miss Lina, she has informed us that she was unable to perform this procedure due to her lacking of staffs, and she was unable to appoint any qualified accountants to prepare for her financial statements of her business.
Now let's look into the strength and the weaknesses in this business. The strength, the business using the most basic form. Miss Lina built Miss Lina's collection with the simplest form, which is the sole proprietorship. This form of business only require one ownership that make it much more easier to manage. Secondly, the regular customer. Miss Lina's collection has their own regular customer around Puncak Alam area that help in consistent their cash flow. Thirdly and lastly, the assets of the business. Assets that are owned by Miss Lina's collection contain both non-current asset and current asset. Assets such as equipment, machine, bank, and cash can be total about 45,000 ringgit Malaysia.
There are a few weaknesses that we have able to detect in Miss Lina's collections business. So the first one is the business lack in appropriate accounting system for recording transactions, so making it impossible to manage sales, losses and financial positions. So as a result, Puan Miss Lina must spend her remaining time to estimate the profit or loss of her business. So for the second one is the business has insufficient number of workers, which is Puan Miss Lina herself and a part-timer who are in control of managing the day-to-day operations of the business. So this lack of workers and manpower may cause Puan Miss Lina to face difficulties in operating her business occasions in the future. And lastly, Puan Miss Lina should promote and offer business activities regarding to her business in order to ensure a growing percentage of the business's revenue. And because there is a little rivalry in the area where the business is located in, the Puan Miss Lina has a lot of room to expand its promotional operations in order to attract and gain more regular customers to buy her goods sold in her business.
So, at the end of this group presentation, I would like to do a simple conclusion, which is there is a lot of benefits when applying account concept in business, such as account prepared will be more systematically accurate and reliable. Then, as we know that following accounting concept, principle and standards may not be an option for a certain business because in a certain country, the law prescribe that business that are operating in a certain level must follow them. So, the account concept is the most important thing in business. So that's all from us. Thank you and assalamualaikum.